12 ways to generate referrals with TNT. Tom Fleming, Tiffanie Kellog back on the webinar. It's been a few months. You always bring such great information. I'm really excited about this one, and obviously our members are too. Get ready to take notes, folks. I am going to turn it over to Tiffany and Tom, who was ever starting, I'm not sure. But all right, Tiffany's going first. So take it away and get ready for some really great info.
So we're going to get started. And the very first question I have for you is, what do you like to do for fun? So put in the chat box, what do you like to do for fun? And I'm going to do something with that here in about 2 minutes, but I figured I would get us started. So what do we like to do for fun? We've got a ton of things coming in. Keep them coming. Now, the very first thing that I want to share, the first tip, and if you notice in the lower right-hand corner, there's a little red circle, 1. So this is number 1. I don't know that we're going to go through the whole time, number 1, number 2, but they're there on the screen for you. Yes, this will be recorded if you need to go back and check it out. And this first technique, I like to call table for 2 times 2 equals referrals. And let's say Steve and I were chatting and we've decided that we're going to get together and have lunch up in Massachusetts. And we decide it's not just going to be him and I, it's not a one-to-one. We want to make more of it. We want to create some introductions. So I go through my database, he goes through his database, and we each pick one person. This could be a prospect, this could be a contact sphere relationship, it could be a resource that you're looking for. We each pick one person. And so while the lunch was planned for 2, there's actually 4 of us there at the table so we can create the introduction. Now, Tom, you and I have done this plenty of times before. Does business typically happen right there at the table?
Not typically at the table, but
but it does typically happen down the road. We're creating a very soft introduction. And so I mentioned you could do food. You could also do, on my list, we could get together for a beverage. We could go golfing, fishing, mani-pedis, maybe even roller skating, though I go ice skating. That's my kind of thing to do. For those of you here, though, you might take your people horseback riding. Kelly, maybe it's a group workout. Tony, take everybody to your beach house when you're not being a workaholic. And so I see here, David, I've got 2 kids, so I don't have a lot of time. Maybe it's you go with some other people with kids at the park and they all go play. Well, you get to have a casual conversation to begin to get to know each other. And we're just starting the conversation. And speaking of the conversation, I'm excited to introduce my co-host today, Tom Fleming. He is the other half of TNT. We are explosive. I like to say we're going to help ignite your business, take things to the next level, though not arson. That is not good. So Tom actually got involved in BNI in the mid to late 90s, and he was up in Boston for several years. And then he came down to Tampa and ran some amazing regions. Now, if you've ever heard of Goal Planning 101 or CEUs, you may want to put a thank you into the chat box, as Tom Fleming helped create those and roll it out across the country and across the globe. So give Tom a thank you if you think that those things are awesome. I'm all about the learn more to earn more. Now, he has retired from being an executive director in BNI, West Central Florida and Tampa, though he is still very active in BNI and my partner for our Ascentive community. And so I love getting to work with him and all that, plus he's a coach. And there's a few things here on the screen that he likes to work with entrepreneurs around, creating that new vision especially. And so, Tom, I want to turn it over to you for our next, though sometimes I cringe. I've actually heard BNI members say, let's go cold calling together. And like cold calling to me is 4-letter words times 2. Cold call, 4-letter words times 2, it like makes it worse. So is there a way we could do something a little bit better than that, Tom?
I've never heard of BNI members going out cold calling together. But hey, different strokes for different strokes. What I prefer is, well, let me tell you a story about 2 guys named Jay. Back years ago, there was Jay Patterson and Jay Wallace. Jay Patterson sold IT services. Jay Wallace sold copier machines. What did they do? They did not go out cold calling together. They picked a day, and Jay Patterson took Jay Wallace around to all of his best clients to create face-to-face introductions. In the morning, in the afternoon. What did they do? They switched it up. Jay Wallace took Jay Patterson around to meet all of his best clients. And so what they were doing is they were creating face-to-face introductions, which is what you're going to hear as a theme throughout today's conversation. Now, Tiffany, do you think business happened that day as those introductions transpired?
Probably not, but
Jay Wallace learned, when did the leases end on Jay Patterson's best clients' copier machines? Jay Patterson became a second choice vendor for IT services. And because they both had trusted relationships with their respective clients, their introductions were taken seriously by their best clients. Now, let me introduce you to the other half of TNT, who's been speaking here for the last couple of moments. I noticed we're both in our BNI red. I don't know, maybe that's because also sticks of dynamite in any cartoon that I've seen are in red. And Steve, thank you for joining us with your red background. Maybe we should be doing this on July 4th. Anyway, Tiffany joined BNI in 2005. She is an E² graduate, education equals excellence, as well as an incentive ignite your business and room for referrals graduate. She's held almost every leadership team position in BNI. She's the co-author of the advanced training on powering up power teams, if you've ever participated in that particular session on Business Builder. And little known fact, she is the most frequent guest on Dr. Meisner's BNI podcast. And what are you up to now? Is it number 6, Tiffany?
I think it's like 8 or 9, actually. I just did one about 3 weeks ago.
Yeah. So bottom line, I've lost track. So when Tiffany isn't helping entrepreneurs make more money, she's authored a number of books. I believe she is working on her 4th book right now, or at least it's mulling around in her head. Also, she has this passion for socks, believe it or not. I think she's got over 500 pairs of socks. In addition, she loves to tour around breweries with her husband across the country. They were just in Colorado on a business trip for Rob's business, and they enjoy getting out there and sampling some of their favorite brews. And of course, she is passionate about her 2 fairly new puppies, about 9 months old now, I think, Guinness and Harper. Pun intended with the relationship to beer. Anything else I should be mentioned? Oh yeah, Tiffany is a real science geek. Happy May 4th, just the past couple of weeks ago, you Star Wars person, you, Doctor Who, Stephen King. She's got a lot of interests that are far different than mine. And so she schools me on her detailed knowledge around all of those interests from time to time.
All right.
What's next?
So as Steve mentioned earlier, and I don't know, Tom, well, Tom didn't see in the chat. He's not usually in the chat, y'all. So if you have questions for Tom, please put those in the Q&A. That's where he'll get the questions at the end today. Steve put in there, it's T and T and T because it's Tom and Tiffany and Tenuzo.
I love it.
And that's great because that's going to be us on Tuesday, but we'll tell you about that later.
Oh, teaser. I like it.
Yeah. As I mentioned, we are cramming a whole bunch of things into today's. If you have aha moments, please put those in the chat, questions in the Q&A. And we're going to talk about a bunch of resources. And so I have one page to rule them all. So as I go through today, you'll see this pop up a couple times. I'm mentioning podcasts, YouTube videos, a number of other things. So there's one resource page. that you can go to that has everything here. And this especially is helpful for those of you watching on YouTube, because you can pull out this information and it's still there and you don't miss it in the chat. When it comes to referrals, this is an individual game. And I know we have our chapter and we are working hard on our chapter, though sometimes we get focused so much on the chapter that we forget about the fact that it's about each person that we have a relationship with. And so in Ignite Your Business, we talk about the fact that there's 8 different kinds of referral sources. Business network members, those are your BNI members, raving fans, staff members, people whose business benefits from you, others you do business with, and people that have given you referrals and people that you've given referrals to. So that's only 7, right? Oh, I saved the best for last. So the number 1 type of referral relationships, hopefully you've heard this term before, is going to be those contact sphere relationships. These are the non-competing industries with the exact same target market. So we have 8 different kinds of relationships. So what I want us to do, hopefully you've got some paper nearby, open up a document, put it in the chat box so you don't need to share it with us if that works for you. What I want to do is give you a minute to write down who are your top 12 referral sources. Now, this isn't professions. This isn't companies. This isn't organizations. You want to write down the actual names of your top 12 referral sources. So let's get to writing on those. See, this is fun. I get a little bored. It's like a minute. And Marjan, why you have no voice, that could be, we are on a webinar format. So just the panelists. If you have questions, please put those in the Q&A.
And what I like about this exercise, by the way, and the cool 70s game show song, is that I don't know if that a lot of people off the top of the head can just name their 12 referral sources.
Yeah, we're going to see how easy or hard this was for them.
I'm just having a struggle on this one.
I think that's partly because people's networking strategy is just throwing stuff on the wall, hoping some of it's going to stick. And there's so much more to referral-based marketing.
All right. So my question to you is this. So great segue, Steve. In the chat box, y'all, please, easy or hard, coming up with the names of 12 people. And I should have mentioned, my apologies, this 12 could be within your chapter or outside of your chapter. In an ideal world, it would be great that all 12 are in our chapter because it makes our life so much easier. But I understand for some of us, we may need 4, 5, or 6 of a single profession, and only 1 or 2 of those can get in the chapter. All right, so we've got some stuff coming in. Some of you are putting in, I'm wondering if you named professions instead of people, so just watch out with that. We've got easy, hard. Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't say you had to put the names in the chat, just if you wanted to put the names in the chat. Just was it easy or hard? I'm seeing a reoccurring theme here from many people saying the first few were easy and then it got harder. And that's pretty typical with what we find is we know the first 1 or 2 or 4 or 5 because they're the ones that are referring us consistently. And then it's ones or twosies, you know, they passed me one last year, they passed me one in 2020. And so part of the intention is, can we get these strong relationships? And sometimes people say, Tiffany, do I really have to have 12? And my recommendation is yes. What you'll find is usually there's 4, 6, or 8 that you're really active with, but it's nice to have a bench because what happens if your best teammate retires, moves away, changes jobs, or you just don't have that relationship anymore because it does take a relationship. And we'll talk more about that in a minute. So if you're struggling with this, one of the things that Tom and I are offering today is you can come out. We do a Ignite Your Business program. They're 2.5-hour modules. So you can come to one. You can't come to all four for free, but you can come to one for free. So I'm going to mention all four of them as we go through today. If this was a struggle for you and you really want to work on naming those people, then you may want to visit activating your network. And I'll tell you about the rest a little bit later. Tom, though, you want to talk to us a little bit about conversation starters?
Absolutely. But what you were just talking about really has me thinking about power teams. You're going to talk a little more about power teams later on?
So I'm not going to talk much at all about power teams, though I am going to mention them at the end. However, on that handy dandy resource page, we actually have 3 things for power teams, including our talk that we did here with Steve last year. So Tom and I did a whole full power teams program, an hour's worth of content that is there on that resource page. We have a free ebook for a power team meeting agenda, as well as Tom and I have an online TNT power team program. So we're not going to get too much into power teams, Tom, today, but there are some resources. And
Yeah, just, thinking top 12, I'm like, well, those people should be my power team. Excellent. Yeah. So let's dive into conversation starters. We've all heard of phrases to listen for, things to look for, but conversation starters are one of my favorite techniques to train my referral partners on to proactively generate referrals from me. And it doesn't matter whether you're a butcher, a baker, a candlestick maker. We want to be training our referral partners to be out there asking people in their network, who's your accountant? Who's your financial planner? Who's your mortgage person? Who's your landscaper? Because that question, who's your, is a conversation starter, because it doesn't matter whether the person says, I don't have one or I do have one. It starts a conversation. So jot down on that piece of paper you're writing on, who's your, and fill in the blank, and begin teaching your referral partners that question that they should be asking people in the network to start a conversation on behalf of your business. And by the way, don't be afraid to learn their conversation starters so you can be out there starting conversations for them. But I do want to provide a little caution today, in as far as, Tiffany, I think in all of this stuff, we need to be aware of the visibility, credibility, profitability model that Dr. Ivan Meisner has created and taught for years, because we don't want to be implementing proactive referral generation strategies necessarily with people that we're in visibility or early credibility with. But I know you have more that you want to talk about on this, Tiffany.
yeah, so please understand, as with much of today, Cliff Notes version, or even sometimes I like to say Twitter version, it's very brief, these conversations that we're having. And so we know VCP, visibility, credibility, profitability. And I think for visibility, this is where people get to know who I am. They at least know my profession, maybe my name and what I do. As I move into credibility, this is where people begin to hear things well about me. They might try me out a little bit, not a massive order, but maybe a little order. And really the I have portion of, the testimonial portion of the BNI meeting came to be to help create credibility amongst the members. So those powerful testimonials help with creating credibility. And when we hit to profitability, this is where the referrals flow in. And we have to have that trust. So visibility is the know, credibility is the like, profitability is the trust. And one thing that I think most of the times we may do wrong is we think, I need to get more referrals. Let me go meet people or take these people that I just met and do some stuff. Whereas I think you should work the process backwards. Start at profitability. These are people that already trust you. They probably have people in their database that they can refer to you. So those are the first people I want to do one-to-one with. Those are the first people, well, hopefully they're here with you today. If not, you can share the video with them next week and say, hey, here are all these generating techniques. Let's work on this together. So I want to make sure my profitable relationships are strong. Then I work on the credible. Then I work on the visible. And you might say, how do you work on them? Okay, we want to educate and motivate our network. That is a bigger conversation than we have today, but I at least want to throw it out there because as we teach them more about what we do, as we motivate them more to help us, it makes amazing things happen. Now, another one of those BNI podcasts that I think goes really well with this conversation is I want referrals and I want them now. So if you want a little bit of help with that one, I always have so much fun with these podcasts. I have like a favorites list of way too many. Also, if you're wanting to think about how can I motivate my network, especially maybe if there's someone in your network that you're having a hard time referring, maybe join us on June 6th for the Motivating Your Network community. Anything else, Tom? I know I'm taking a 30-minute conversation and putting it in 3.
Yeah, I know when it comes to motivating and educating our network, those two things need to go together like peanut butter and jelly. And when I think about motivating my network, you know, so many people think that giver's gain is about tit for tat, if you will. I give you a referral, you give me a referral. And to be honest with you, there are 15 other tactics or strategies that I can implement to promote you, someone in my network that's going to lead you to more referrals, okay, that doesn't necessarily involve referrals. And when I understand these tactics in terms of how I can support others, I can be teaching others how to implement those tactics to help me to build my visibility, to build my credibility, to build my brand and profitability. So I'm excited about this June 6th event where you're going to share about 16 relationship builders, which are nothing more than tactics to motivate your sources.
Next on our list is Rise Square. Now, this is a conversation, a full program that we do. Actually, people come with their referral partner and sit through it. Though, as we mentioned earlier, Steve said this is an action-packed, crammed event. So there is one webinar, there is one podcast, number 562, How to Get Referrals, that actually walks you through all of the various steps that you need to do for the Rise Square process. So that one's there for you. And then tactic number 4 I want to share with you is one tool for hundreds of referrals. And I've been using this technique for years, and I was so excited when Tim Roberts recorded it and put it on the podcast. I think it is a brilliant and easy and simple. So it's both easy and simple. That makes a difference. Way for you to be able to generate referrals for your fellow BNI members. Again, these are all linked and listed on the resource pages. So if you're like, oh my gosh, Tiffany, you're going so quick, that's what the page is for. But those are 2 podcasts that I recommend for you. Now, speaking of being online, give me a thumbs up or a Y if you ever use social media. A thumbs up or a Y if you ever use social media. Now, I hear quite frequently people will say, I'm getting a ton of business. I've got the community Facebook group and everybody mentions me. That's a referral, right? No. No. Did I say no yet? That is a really amazing way. Tom and I like to call that promoting, and it's a great tactic. However, it's missing something. And so what I like to do when I see that on social and it says, hey, can you recommend to me the butcher, the baker, the candlestick maker? I say, yes, I type the name in. And then if I know the person, I'm not reaching out to somebody I don't know, that's not me. But if I know the person, then I will call, text, message, whatever it is, however I communicate with them, and say, hey, I saw you're looking for the underwater basket weaver. I have one who's amazing. Could I introduce you to? And so it's that next level of reaching out to the person, getting permission for the connection, then and only then does that count as a referral. And it's such a simple step that I don't know that people do frequently. And it takes it from okay, you're one of many, to there are lots of options because I can just reach out and they're looking for them. So it's usually an easy referral. So simple, we can all do it.
Nice.
You got a tactic for us, Tom?
I do. Tactic number 6. Here's our good friend, Sean Yesner, who's a great client of ours. He's a bankruptcy and real estate attorney here in Tampa, Florida. And we put together this little video for you to take a listen to learn about, again, strategy number 6 in proactively passing referrals.
And I wanted to talk about a referral technique that I use with one of my good friends and one of my good referral partners who owns a computer IT company. Now you may be wondering, what does an attorney and an IT company have to do with being great referral partners for each other? Well, my friend Clay knows that a great referral for me is introductions to realtors. And so I developed a letter that I gave to Clay, a script that I gave to Clay. Now, you know those postcards that you always get in the mail from realtors in your community that advertise how quickly they may have sold one of your neighbor's homes, or advertised how much money they may have sold one of your neighbor's homes for. Well, when Clay gets those advertisements in the mail, he then contacts me and says, hey, do you know this realtor that just sent me a postcard? Or do you know this realtor that just put a sign up in my neighborhood to sell one of my neighbor's homes? And if I don't already know that realtor, Clay then sends that realtor this script, this letter that we created. And the letter basically says, dear Mr. or Mrs. Realtor, thank you so much for providing me the information about home sales in my community. I always like keeping up with the latest in real estate trends. I wanted to send you this letter to introduce you to my friend Sean Yesner. He's a real estate attorney, owner of Yesner Law, founder of Yesner Law, host of the Crushing Debt podcast. And one of the ways that Sean helps realtors is by promoting them on his show, promoting them on his podcast for free. May I set up an introduction? And in most cases, the realtors say, absolutely, yes, please set up an introduction. It doesn't work 100% of the time, but it does get me a lot of introductions. And so that's the system that Clay Kerr and I created to generate more introductions, more referrals for me, for the law firm, and for the podcast. And the system works. It has worked in terms of the numbers and relationships and contacts that it has generated. And I even understand that by reaching out to these realtors, Clay himself has gotten some additional contacts and relationships and potentially referrals, because the realtors then respond back to him, thank you so much for the introduction. What do you do? How can we help you? And so Clay's been able to leverage that for himself and his business as well. Clay and I have been using this system here for a few years, and it's worked great. So again, Sean Yesner, owner and founder of Yesner Law, host of the Crushing Debt podcast.
Bessian.
Brilliant technique. Brilliant technique.
Okay. I didn't know if there's anything else you want to add to that, Tom, or are you good?
No, I absolutely love it. And it's a good segue for a future tactic I'm going to share with people.
But in the meantime, I want to talk about a conversation called the 10 Shades of a Referral. You may have heard a little bit about this before. You may not have. It's been around. It was in one of Dr. Meisner's original books. I don't remember if that was Business by Referral or World's Best Known Marketing Secret. They have since been merged into one. So it was in one of the original versions of those books. And so it's the 10 Shades of a Referral, Cliff Notes version, because we don't have time to do the 20 or 30-minute conversation. So I want to touch on a few of them. Shade 3 is I authorize the use of my name. And this sometimes can get us past the gatekeeper. Oh, you know Steve? Yeah, Steve is amazing. He's phenomenal. If you said come in, that's fine. Though sometimes you say, hey, Susie sent me here, and you're like, Susie? Oh gosh, ugh. Yeah, no, you're not getting in. So I often think of this as what I feel a referral in the chamber typically is, because they're like, oh, excited. Let me, send you in. And for those of you like, Tiffany, that doesn't even count as a referral. Look, there's 10 shades. We're going to get better. Fret not. If we move to a shade 4, that is where you send a letter of recommendation with a testimonial. Now, sometimes people are like, Tiffany, really, a letter? Well, I will say you will stand out, because how many letters do you get versus how many dozens of emails will you get on the webinar while we're here? And so it does stand out, though you could send it as an email. Essentially, though, you're putting in writing good words about one of your referral sources. Note, this is still a one-way communication. Let's get some back and forth going on. And so as we get to the shade 6, I qualify a prospect's specific need or interest and arrange permission for the referral source to call the prospect. So here is where I feel that we're getting into what's acceptable for the BNI range. Though I do say, whatever the people in your chapter want, that's their prerogative. If they want a 3, that's up to them. If you want a 6, that's up to you. And we talk about that more in this module. And what I love about this one is, for the first time, we're qualifying and we're arranging permission. And so to me, that takes it to the next level. But speaking of the next level, let's get to 7, because I really like this shade 7. And you've got this conversation. I qualify a prospect's specific need or interest and arrange a meeting on their behalf. Now, sometimes people are like, Tiffany, you can't schedule for me. You don't know my schedule. That ain't what I'm talking about. Like, I would be in communication with you to arrange the meeting to meet with the prospect. But Tom, why do you feel that having that meeting arranged is more powerful than just permission to call?
Oh my God, it's a face-to-face introduction. That's one of the highest level of referrals out there. It shows that I believe in matchmaking my referral partner and a prospect.
Awesome, awesome. And then there's a few more. And then the very last one is I bring my referral source a closed deal. We like to say, show me the money. And for some people, my referral sources can bring me a closed deal. They send people to my website, have somebody enroll, pay, and then I say, thank you so much for the referral. For some of you out there, though, it's more of we have to figure out the product or service that we need, or we need to determine what's going on. I'm using you. We just have to nail down the details of this contract. And so as we have this, as we go through all of this, the intention is the better shade of a referral. Well, let me show you the value gap model. This will be a great visualization for you. So the value gap model essentially compares sales to referral marketing. And in both instances, we have to go from a 0, I don't know you, I've never met you, to give me money. In sales, you're doing all the work yourself. In referral marketing, your referral sources, your chapter members are doing some of the work, and you're doing some of the work. And the power with this is, as we go through, if they do a little bit of work, then you have to do more work. Don't you like my pretty lines there? If they do most of the work, you do a little bit of the work. And so when we talk about the 10 shades of referral, really what we're doing here is talking about how much effort that your referral sources are putting in, as well as how much effort that you're having to put in. And what I found is the better the referrals that you get, the less time it takes, and the more likely they are to buy and buy more. And so all of that makes a huge impact. And so to kind of summarize the 10 shades of a referral, again, Cliff Notes, it makes a difference. And part of this, we talked a little bit earlier about motivating. Part of this is just about educating your referral sources too. I love the gains profile as a great tool to help move my relationship to visibility to credibility. Knowing those conversation starters that Tom mentioned earlier, that's one of the things I want to make sure my referral sources have. Now, the 10 shades of a referral, this comes from the Refer Me conversation, which is on June 16th. So those are happening from 11 to 1:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I saw that question in there, so we're answering that one right now. 11 to 1:30. If that time frame doesn't work for you, if you go to the page, you can click on the, oh no, none of those work for me. I mean, I think that's actually what I wrote. Oh no, none of those work for you. And I will let you know some additional times if you want to come out and join us. And
Was it June 13th or 16th?
Are my dates right? I'm sorry, June 13th is what I got here.
Yes, okay. You would say June 16th. I just wanted to clarify.
Oops. It should be right on the Google form that is there. And in this conversation, we talk about also how to give back a bad referral. We talk about what to teach your referral sources so they can refer you more, and a few other things. Ooh, we got some cake coming up.
Yeah, making me hungry. It is lunchtime here, Eastern Standard Time. So Tiffany just talked about the 10 shades of referrals. How many of you have ever participated in a BNI Visitors Day or what's known as a Better Together Day. What did you do? Yeah, absolutely. Me as well. Many times.
Jennifer has, Ken has, Sally has.
Yeah. What did you do? You sent a letter of introduction. You followed up that letter of introduction with a follow-up phone call. Are you coming to our Better Together Day? And when those visitors attended your BNI chapter meeting, a face-to-face introduction transpired. This is what we call a layered referral. We know that that referral process works because we've seen it work over and over in BNI. Why couldn't you sit down with a referral partner and say, I have 5 people I think I can refer you to. I'd like to send them a letter, an email, a text of introduction. I'd like to follow that introduction up with a phone call, asking them if they would actually like to meet you. And then what I would like to do is schedule a time where the 3 of us can meet for a face-to-face introduction. It's a system. Just do it over and over and over again with those top 12 referral partners you jotted down before, and success will be yours. Where are we going from here, Tiffany? Oh, did we already do our bonus? No, we're going to do our bonus tactic because Tiffany's favorite number is number 13. And we want to show you this brief video from another client of ours, Jason Avery, owner of Avery Construction. And as you're listening to this particular tactic, just think about using your referral generator. Think about using your referral generator.
Tell us about one of the ways that you like to generate referrals for the people on your power team.
So we put together just a very simple line card advertisement, but it's not just like something that's going to be dropped in somebody's mailbox. It's the manner in which we use this tool to help proactively generate new referrals. So every time I have a customer, after I've talked my spiel, I'm going to hand them a card and say, you know, this is a tool you might want to put in the junk drawer. You know, hold on to it for a little while, because you never know when a light fixture is going to go on the fritz, or when the faucet may spring a leak, or the roof may spring a leak. You might need a licensed contractor on a whim. These are all trusted people that I work with on a regular basis. You can feel good about calling any one of them. When I put that card in their hand, what do? They look at it. They flip it over. They see the other side. They say, "Wow, that's a great idea you guys have. See, you have somebody who does pressure washing. I've been needing to get the back patio done." And they identify with something on the card and then demonstrate to you where that referral opportunity may be. Hey, the guy on the card is a good friend. Let me call him up right now and see if I can get that scheduled for you. So, it's not just, first you got to create the tool, but then you got to teach the members on the team how to use the tool. And when you use it, you can create proactive opportunities.
I love it. Again, use your referral generator in that way.
Okay. So we've got 13 that we covered, and we still want to leave time for Q&A, but I do think there's a few more out there. So I at least want to acknowledge one of the things that Tom and I love to do, because, okay, I like to do this because I'm an introvert and I don't like to network all that much, which sometimes people find kind of humorous being what I do. But it's not natural for me. So I love tag team networking at an event, team attendance at an event. And one of the 4 modules you have to choose from is the networking type conversation. Some members I have seen before bundle their products and services. Tom, do you have any examples off the top of your head of members that have bundled their products and services? I know I was just talking to a health coach and a supplement salesperson, and they're bundling and they're doing weekly masterminding groups together.
Sure. A florist and a baker, for instance, where people are coming in and they want to celebrate an event with some a cake, cookies, cupcakes, and some flowers.
Love it. So perhaps bundling your product or service. There is a topic Tom and I like, referral incentive triangulation. It just sounds cool. So one of these days you may see us for that. And Tom, you were asking earlier, power teams. So yes, there is a ton of stuff. We did a power teams program back last year, Steve. Maybe it was the middle of the year. I don't remember. You're probably like, I don't remember. It's a long time ago. That link is on the resources page. And there's so much more. The goal is just, we want to think about these tactics and use these instead of, hey, did any referrals fall in my lap this week? If we can proactively work, it can make a difference.
Yeah. Let me put this whole conversation, because we've covered a lot, in a nice little gift box for you. Okay. There, to summarize what we've talked about today, there's a distinction between passive, active, and proactive referral generation. Now, I would think you want to be a proactive referral generator in support of people in your network, and you would rather have them be a proactive referral generator for you. Everything that we've talked about today is about moving towards proactive referral generation with these 12 ways, 13 ways you can pass more referrals, others can pass more referrals to you. So it's about training your referral partners with these proactive techniques and implementing them yourself to generate referrals to others, to lead by example. BNI is a lead by example organization. How you conduct yourself in BNI and treat others in BNI is how they will conduct themselves and treat you as well. Do you have anything else you want to wrap up with today, Tiffany? I think a few things.
Yes, I do. So one thing I would love to have you do in the chat box, what are your aha moments? Or I like to call them your Tiffany's. Those are your epiphany from Tiffany. We have not come up with something cute, Tom. I was just using ChatGPT today to come up with some memory hooks. So maybe we can come up with something. I'm going to use me some ChatGPT to find you something cute. Though doesn't look like Tom wants anything cute. If you look at his face, what do y'all think, y'all? That's a lot of y'all's. So in the chat box, please, what were your aha moments? What are your to-dos? What are you going to do as a result of today? I keep mentioning this resource page because I just wanted to make it easy. I know the first time we're like, here's 17 links all throughout the day. That was way too much. One page. I highly recommend you come join us in the Ignite Your Business program. There's 4 modules to choose from 11 to 1:30 p.m. Eastern time. Again, there's an option. If you can't make one of those, there is another option and I will get in touch. So check out the resources, attend the module. And Tom, apparently it was so much in my head, even though we didn't talk much about power teams today, I put it on the list because of all of the chapter members. I think these are the ones that have the largest and the best potential to generate referrals for us.
I've been scanning the chat here, and people are loving the whole concept of proactive referral generation, conversation starters. They like the line card. Bundling's a great idea. Donna's working the 10 shades of referrals. Way to go, Donna.
Awesome. Awesome. So one more thing that we have going on, and this is serendipitous. This was not necessarily planned, but it worked out this way. So on Tuesday, I am hosting the More Abundant Entrepreneur Show. This used to be the More Money, Time, and Fun Show. It's been rebranded. So it's the inaugural episode of our More Abundant Entrepreneur. And it's TT&T again. So Steve is going to be actually presenting. How many of you are so stoked to actually see Steve present? Like, let's give Steve some love in the chat box here. So Steve's going to talk to us a little bit about LinkedIn. Tom is going to talk to us about putting those big rocks in first. And I'm going to share with you a little bit about how to mix that business and pleasure. I know I did that with the first tactic a tiny bit, but we're going to go a little bit more in detail. I will put the link to that in the chat. Anything else, gentlemen, you want to add on that?
I do. So I'm really excited about doing this because I never get to present after 6 years of doing this webinar. So I am like ready to go. But what I would like is for a big chunk of the hundreds of people that visited this webinar today to go, and the link is right there in the chat, to register for this one. I want to set a record for Tiffany. She and Tom have been on this webinar multiple times and bringing all the good info. This is our chance to kind of pay them back and to learn something new too. So please, please register.
Yes, and it's free. So we'd love to have you there. Tom, do you want to kind of give us our closing quote for today?
Sure. Action is the foundational key to all success. So knowledge that you've gained today, let's implement it. Let's take action. I love it.
All right. I think I'm going to turn it back over to Steve for our Q&A portion of today's program.
Yeah, we've got a couple of questions. Sue is asking what time are your events? They should all be on the link, right?
Correct.
Okay. Let's see. Arnold's asking, what way do you prefer to be introduced to people? Call, email, or text, or do you leave it open to them?
I like Zoom myself. I think that face-to-face is great. The next option would be via phone. If not, face-to-face first, Zoom second, and then phone call third.
Yeah, and I think this is a conversation that you want to have with your referral partner because everybody may be different. I know some people have a funnel that they do via email or text message, whereas I would, number one, would always prefer to talk to you face-to-face or on Zoom versus a phone, but I think it's different for each person. So I usually ask my referral source, how do you prefer to be referred? And yeah, face-to-face is definitely at the top for me.
Great. I think we've seen this multiple times in the chat and now in Q&A. Will we be able to get the slide presentation or a list of the 12 ways to generate referrals?
So I don't actually have a list of the 12 ways to generate referrals, but I could probably easily put one together. Not today, next week, y'all. So if you sign up for something, if you go in, I'll make sure that I get that to you, but we'll create that.
Yeah, actually, Tiffany, if you can get that to me, I can put it in next week's email reminder with the link to this recording.
I can do that.
And for those who asked about the recording, I will upload it before 5 p.m. today on our BNI Team USA YouTube channel. Okay. And Sandra's asking, how do you organize your funneling?
Funneling or bundling?
It looks like funneling is written, but maybe it is bundling. Maybe it's both. Let us know, Sandra.
So Tom, you want to talk a little bit about how about both? So we do talk in module 7, the networking for results, about a funneling conversation. And essentially it's a series of a couple of questions that you can give to your referral source so that they can ask on your behalf. And it is a great way to make referring easy. So if you are interested in that, I would check out the networking for results module that is offered in the Ignite Your Business. As far as the bundling goes, Tom.
Yeah, I'm to be honest with you, I'm not sure what the question is, so I'm not sure how to respond. Bundling would simply be partnering up with someone that's in a synergistic profession as yours. I mean, think of a real estate transaction. Who is that? That's realtor, mortgage originator, insurance, home inspector. Bundling would be promoting like a one-stop shop for home purchases, home sales with that group of people that are all involved in a real estate transaction or in a landscaping project or in taking care of someone's health and wellness. So to me, the concept of bundling is, or could be, all based around your power team. Back to power teams.
Awesome, awesome. And I did answer a chat. So I see some people asking, what was this number? What was that number? What was it called? Go to the resource page. It has the number, the title, the link. It includes the 2 videos that we showed from Jason and Sean today. And it's several other things. So it's all there on the page. Is that all of our questions?
That's all of our questions. All right, we've got a couple other things to talk about on our, if you could put up that last slide. There it goes. Hey folks, join us next week. We are talking about marketing to different generations. You know, there are a lot more generations out there than I thought. I just thought we were up to generation Alpha, right? But there's another one coming up behind it, but we're talking about marketing to different people, right? And so whether the way we communicate, the way that we look at how our target audience prefers to be marketed to, We've got Kathleen Delpret, and she's going to talk all about that next week. And here is the link if you want to sign up. There you go. We'll see you then. Tom and Tiffany, any final words before we sign off?
1,000 thank you, Steve. An awesome host as usual. And we're so excited about you joining us next
Yes, Tuesday. I can't wait.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you want BNI to be a success, just work BNI. And so these are some really great proactive referral generation techniques. And we didn't really talk about it, but we did a BNI Talks in December for your giving plan. And so I think it was maybe called your profitability goals or your goals that we did at the end of last year, where we actually walk you through the numbers and you determine how many referrals do I need to give to hit my revenue goal. So if you're not sure how many to give, now you have the tactics to do it. You just need to figure out your goal to give, and then you should be able to hit all your revenue goals in BNI if you follow the system.
Love it.
Sounds good. All right. Well, thanks for being on again. I'm sure we'll have you back soon enough with more new, fun, exciting topics. Everyone, give yourselves a CEU, and we'll see you all next time.
You
Take
get
care.
a CEU, and you get a CEU, and you
That's right.